And when we take time to receive what we need to know, we will be reminded this evening that we are already empowered with everything we need to end the devastation of HIV in our communities. Healing happens when we recognize and lift up the powers that lie beneath the surfaces of our fears, powers that are straining to be let loose, straining to rid our lives and our communities of demons of fear, hopelessness, and despair. More than anything, we are here tonight to remind ourselves that we deserve better and we can do better. We deserve to be healthy. We deserve to live with dignity, regardless of who we love. We deserve to celebrate our bodies. We deserve to embrace our sexualities. We deserve to move into life, to love with radical pride, radical joy, and radical vision. We are here tonight to remind you that HIV is still a thing. Welcome and enjoy the evening. Our first speaker this evening is Goddess Briq House. Miss Briq House is a Seattle native and a burlesque performer, a teacher, a producer, intuitive intimacy instructor, and motivational speaker. She focuses on creating intimate arts healing spaces for people of color-centered work. Her professional activities include body love workshops, cuddling, BDSM training, and holistic medicine. Goddess Briq House Entertainment, in association with Theater Jackson and Sin de la Rosa, produced the only monthly all people of color burlesque review in Seattle, the Sunday Night Sugar Shack, which has been running since 2013. The greatest quote that I heard from Goddess Briq House was when she said, "I encourage people to be open-minded and responsible for themselves, their words and their actions. I understand the need for safe, exclusively queer Black people of color spaces." She says, "I also understand the need for heteros and homos and everyone in between to come together so we can love and build one another up. There can be no revolution without all of us present." Hey, Goddess, how you?
Hey now, Dr. Rene.
All righty then. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on in your life, a whole lot of stuff going
Ooh,
on in your world. What we gonna do with your stuff? Your stuff. If we're gonna engage people and engage our community to stop HIV, tell me what you do, girl.
so I do a lot of things, but I think that the number one thing that we are going to have to do as a community is to acknowledge the fact that we are sexual beings and that there is no shame in that, and to really move forward in a sex positive way. I think that a lot of times what happens with things is that they get out of control because we're trying to keep it a secret, and we're trying to put it on the low, and we're trying to do this and do that and not have nobody in our business, and and it's like we don't give ourselves the knowledge that we need, and we don't give ourselves over to resources or places that could give us that knowledge, because that would mean that we would have to be comfortable in who we are and what we're doing. And I think a lot of that, Reverend, is tied to a lot of Black folks were very, very like they were brought up in a very strict religious background. And so we have a lot of that fighting with our spirituality and our sexuality that we have to navigate and figure out our way around that, because I don't believe that any God will want us to not have pleasure. But unfortunately, because of, the ways in which we've been conditioned and taught, we have a lot of shame and guilt around the ways that we enjoy and express ourselves. And I think that lovemaking is just as much about divinity and God as anything else is. And so I think the number one thing we have to start doing is recognizing sex is sacred and our bodies as sacred, and the things that we do with them and with one another as sacred, so that we can move forward in a way of like celebrating our temples and taking the best care of them, instead of trying to shame them or hide them or tuck them away.
Yes, you make a different. You make a point in on your website to
Mm-hmm.
say that spirituality and religion are not the same.
No.
Can you say more about that?
I think that, well, you know what? For some people, it may be. For me, it is not the same. I feel like spirituality is something that anyone can, I think that everyone has an essence of spirituality, and everyone can access that at any time, at any moment, no matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter who you believe in, what you believe in. You can always access spirituality because you are spirit, and spirit lives within you. Whereas religion, I feel like, can create a boundary or a kind of a gate of like, oh, well, you can't come in here if you do this or if you have that. And I think that people are tired of those gates. I think that we're not going to help anybody. We're not going to save nobody. We're not going to liberate anybody if we keep telling them that who they are just off the rip is not good enough for whatever divine purpose that we're talking about. I think we have lost so many people because we refuse to open up our doors in the way that God or the divine or spirit or our ancestors actually do and actually would. So I think that a lot of religion gets in the way of real relationship and real intimacy with whatever you believe the divine to be.
So we're out here, and we're looking at young people are still getting HIV, old people are still getting HIV, people we love are still getting HIV. What is the message that we need to be telling each other? You say there can be no revolution without all of us being present,
Yeah.
but how do we get everybody present? What is it? Why do you think HIV they don't think it's a thing anymore?
Well, I think, because I am queer, we have never stopped having the HIV conversation in queer community, not in my queer community. It is something that is at the forefront of our communities. And I personally feel like the queer community has a much more positive relationship with HIV and the HIV positive community. Whereas I feel like some of my straight friends are not having those same conversations. And there's still a lot of stigma and things that people need to unlearn and relearn. And I think it starts with us having conversations with people who are not necessarily like us or not always in the same circles. Because, like I said, in my queer community, we're always talking about this. But with my straight friends, there's less of that conversation. So I think it means taking our conversations from one community to the other. All Black folks are multifaceted Black folks. We have lots of different types of friends, lots of different types of communities. And I think it's about taking these conversations to all of our different parts of our lives and keeping it a regular conversation, not something that needs to be had in secret or whatever. But if we're out at happy hour, I think it's okay for me to be like, hey, girl, so I just went and got tested. This is what I'm thinking about that. When's the last time you did? I think it's a natural, normal conversation. I think it's the normalizing of these are the ways in which I take care of myself. This is how I'm doing it with these people. This is how I'm not doing it with these folks, whatever. But I think it's about being proud of who you are, what you're doing, how you're doing it, and freely sharing that information with people that you feel close to, so that they can start normalizing having those conversations with their close community as well.
Well, I am certainly proud of you. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank you for having me.
yourself with me. I'll see you at the Sugar Shack
You will see
later
me
on
this Sunday, 7
this
p.m.
Sunday.
Theater out, Jack.
Bye-bye. My goodness. She does cuddling too. Our next speaker is Coach Crosby. Coach Crosby is the creator and the artistic director at In the Kutt Dance Studio run by Cutting Up Entertainment. This In the Kutt Dance Studios offers a variety of dance classes and specializes in hip hop for all ages and experience levels. Cutting Up is a home for local hip hop and dance families consisting of youth all over the greater Seattle area. Their mission is to succeed in all aspects of life, including but not limited to grades, responsibility, and accountability. It says we want to improve physically, mentally, and spiritually as professional dancers. Also, to inspire the lives of all that they come in contact with through their passion of dance. I can't is not a part of their vocabulary because the sky is the limit. They say, though we get tired, we will give nothing but 100% dedication and 100% of the time. Cutting Up is not just a team; we are family. Hey, Coach.
What's going on,
Welcome,
everybody?
welcome.
Thank you, thank
So,
you.
we're looking at young people who are still getting HIV. It's a disease that's been around 40 years, and they're still getting it. We're still getting fresh. Why do you think that happens, and what do you think we can do about it?
All right, y'all said I got 5 minutes, right?
And I'm timing you.
All right, so within my 5 minutes, I really want to just make two points. So, the first thing is just to kind of piggyback off of what Briq was saying is that, oh my gosh, okay, don't hate me. Y'all brought me on here because I'll probably keep it too real sometime, okay?
No such thing. Just do you.
Oh, right. So, Black heterosexual people, men and women, have to stop shaming gay people, especially the bisexual community, right? Like, in if you got homies or if you got women in your life, they make you choose one. So instead of being open, like Briq was saying about your sexuality, you hide it. And just like teen pregnancy, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're not allowed to be open to have conversation, you have conversation with the wrong people. You're easily led into dark spaces when the people in the light won't talk to you. You know what I'm saying? And so for young people, especially now with social media, condoms have completely disappeared from porn, like straight up. Like condoms has completely disappeared from porn, and a lot of these young people are doing what they see, you know, on OnlyFans, through porn. And so if you're never witnessing people protecting themselves, you kind of go into it the same way. And if you don't have nobody in your life to talk to about being a part of the queer community, especially, then who tells you to get tested? Who tells you where the resources are? Who tells you how to protect yourself? You get what I'm saying? Because all of us, even as all of us gay people, we obviously come from heterosexual sex, right? So if our parents, you know what I'm saying? So if our parents, if we can't talk to them and we can't talk to our big brothers and our cousins, you know what I'm saying? Who do we talk to? You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of young people are getting trapped. I've been told plenty of times, like, I don't like condoms. And I'll be like, child, what you like? You know what I'm saying? And I've been in spaces to where I felt pressure because I really wanted to do it. This person said they don't want to use protection. And I still went forward with it. But I promise you, how I talk to like the young men and the young women in my dance community, like that are young, I'd be like, oh well, like if you're a young man, like go jack off, okay? If you're a young woman, I don't know what to tell you, but go figure. You know what I'm saying? But here goes somebody. Hey, Briq, come talk to this young woman about, you know what I'm saying, protecting herself. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just a dance teacher. So, and I tell all parents, like, yo, I'm just Robin, you Batman. You know what I'm saying? I'm just the sidekick. But the sidekick can't do it alone. When y'all ever see a sidekick do it alone? Okay. So that's the first thing. I hope I made sense because I feel like I jumped all over the place.
No, you said this too, though. I'm waiting on 2.
Okay. So 2, I wanted to share this thing. So I asked 5 women one time because I always talk to my godmother about just sexuality. And she refused. She's like, I will not date a man that has ever dated or been with another man. I'm like, not even in college? Like, if that was a moment in his life that he tried, she's like, no, never. I'm like, well, how do he be honest with you? And she was like, well, maybe he shouldn't. I was like, yo, that is so toxic. That is horrible. That's how y'all catch diseases. Can't nobody be honest with y'all. And so she was like, it ain't just black women. I think it's most women. And literally, I went and I asked 5 different women. I asked a black woman. I asked an African woman. I asked a Hispanic, an Asian, and a white woman. And the black woman and the African woman are the only ones that said absolutely not. And who did you say are mostly affected? Like what race of straight women are mostly affected?
Yay. There you go.
Come on now.
Come on now.
Y'all listening to me?
There you go.
Now, I don't know what that means when we like, you get to do what you want to do. It's your body. You get to mess with who you want to mess with. But I don't know. We got to figure it out.
We got to figure it out.
Men cannot be honest with black women, but then black women are mostly affected by this secret society of a disease. What's the answer?
I guess the answer is to keep talking, you know,
That
but
part.
you can't keep
talking and stop being so judgmental.
That's right. And you can't keep talking because your time is up.
Period. I knew it was gonna end quick.
Thank you so much. So much.
Thank you for having me.
All righty. Our next speaker is going to actually, it's great that she's coming after Coach because she's got a story to tell. She's got, you know, she could probably answer some of those questions that Coach introduced. Madeline Brooks is an HIV-positive Black woman who is also a community organizer and activist. And Madeline is working to raise awareness and combat AIDS and HIV among African Americans. As a heterosexual woman, she has faced numerous barriers because of both her sex and her race. Her story is hers to tell and ours to learn from. Her battle is not just for her alone, though. Let's engage and join her journey. Madeline, it's all about you. Tell us your story.
Hello, everyone. And thank you for inviting me to come and tell my story. I just wanted to start off with, I thank God that I am still alive. It's been 33 years that I've been infected, and I don't say I have HIV. I don't say I have AIDS. I am healed. And that's how I'm going to start this. And the reason why I say that, because I have been undetected over maybe 15 years now. And to get to some of the questions, I'm going to do my story first. So I left Seattle in 82. I actually came here in 76. And I was married. And my first husband came back to Louisiana and married me and brought me to Seattle. I really loved him. And I really appreciate that he brought me to where I wanted to really live. I learned about Seattle when I was in the 9th grade about the Space Needle and the Seattle Center. And I said, that's where I wanted to live. And he took that and he went in the Navy, got out. And when he got out, he came here. But when I graduated in 76, he came back to Louisiana and married me and brought me here to Seattle. During that time, he was not positive, but things got kind of hectic and I left, and I was pregnant when I left in 82, and I went to back home, and I was there for about 8 years, longer than what I wanted to be. And when I came back to Seattle in 90, I got back with him. And during the end of the year of 90, that's when I noticed my lymph nodes, which I didn't know that it was a lymph nodes. I just know that I had 2 knots on the side of my neck. And I said, I got to go find out what's going on. My doctor did not want to test me for HIV. She tested me for everything else. And she said, you're with your husband, and I really don't believe you done been with nobody else since you went here. No, I haven't. And so I finally got her to go ahead on and test me. And she tested me, and my test came back positive. And when she told me, I had went to the clinic, it was night, like 6 o'clock. And when I left there that night, it was like 12 o'clock, because I actually had a fit right there in the clinic. And the thing was, they told me, they left me in the room by myself. And so I was like, okay, this is not, and I'm just not dealing with this right. So I finally went home, and I waited until the next day. I took my children, I got my children off to school. I'm a mother of 6, a grandmother of nearly, between grand and great grands, 30 total. And but at that time I had my 6 children, and none of them are infected. So I went back home that night, and I waited till the next day after I got them off to school, and I came back, and my husband didn't know I had put a hammer in one corner and a butcher knife in the other corner. So I went down and I told him that I was HIV positive. And he said, I'm gonna die of something, why not AIDS? And I'm gonna take everybody I can with me. I'm like, what did you say? I know you didn't say what I said. What I thought you heard, I thought I heard what you said. Say it again. And he said, well, I'm gonna die of something, why not AIDS? And I'm gonna take everybody I can with me. So I looked back at the knife and I looked back at the hammer, and I said, Lord, you better have this, because all I can hear in my head was, don't touch him. I have this. I'm like, okay, Lord, if you say so. But I really wanted to take him out. But I didn't touch him. I went back upstairs and I got my children. That was that evening. I got my children. I told them, look, it's time that I need to tell y'all something. And I told them, and my 5 minutes is up. But if you want to know more, I would let you know.
All right. And we put your contact information in there. I'm so glad that you are living today. You are living proof that HIV is still a thing, but together we can get past this. We can get past this. Thank you so much for talking to us about how you empowered yourself to live with HIV.
I don't expect to persuade you that racism is wrong. I don't expect to change your mind about any of your personal feelings. I do expect that you will acknowledge that I am human. And I deserve to live a full and equal life, free of enmity, a life to pursue liberty and happiness and joy everlasting. Now you are free to believe what you choose to believe, because I, America, I am born here, I am free here, and I will be here because I matter. Fighting for freedom that I am due here because I matter.
Thank you so much to Vania C. Bynum. She's a local artist and choreographer who, for reciting the poem "I Matter" that was written by Dr. Rene Nettles of Mobile, Alabama. Our next presenter is Howard Russell, and Howard's going to talk to us about resources there. Howard Russell is a pharmacy liaison for the AIDS Health Foundation. AHF is a healthcare and advocacy organization that's been dedicated to addressing healthcare and promoting basic human rights for over 30 years. As a powerful advocate for prevention and care, Howard tells us, says, I would also say to anyone who is still waiting for a miracle to happen in their life to just hang in there. The door will open up one day. Just give it a little time and patience. Just pray and pray. Howard tells us, I can remember when I was ready to give up on life. I had to tell myself, don't stop fighting. I find that fighting has become something I enjoy. It keeps me motivated now. When I accomplish something, I realize it took me and God to make it happen. Howard, tell us about making it happen.
Well, first of all, Dr. Rene, that was very powerful. What you did. I didn't expect that introduction. So thank you for that. And thank you for the intro itself. And I also like to thank the National Black AIDS Awareness Committee, along with Paul Green, who in one casual conversation on the phone somehow talked me into being a part of this special Black History event. So Dr. Rene introduced me. So my name is Howard Russell, and I'm the pharmacy representative for AHF, which is AIDS Health Foundation. I have been with the organization for about 5 years, and my main focus is outreach and introducing our pharmacy to clinics, doctors, and organizations that are out there. We're also working with organizations who are putting on special events in the community. So if you have anything that you need funding for, make sure you get in contact with me. I am also part of the WSPG, which is the Washington Syndemic Planning Group, and that is a group that is finding ways to end STI, HIV, and viral hepatitis in Washington State. As part of the group, we guide the Washington State Department of Health to prevent, improve, and respond to the health needs of people living with these health conditions. Since the rates of HIV decrease in Washington State, my focus has been on PrEP and on PEP. Both of these drugs was approved by the FDA as being highly effective in decreasing new infections. However, studies have shown that only a few African Americans, youth, and women are even using PrEP. Pre-exposure prophylaxis for HIV prevention and PEP, which is a post-exposure prophylaxis, also known as post-exposure prevention, which I prefer as a morning after pill. Now, I'm a gay man, and I have lived through some incredible, scary times especially in the late 80s. I remember when there was no adequate treatment for HIV and AIDS, and thousands of members, community, were dying right before our eyes. I know for me, I was terrified to have sex with anyone. I was scared that a touch or a kiss or even a handshake would infect me. At that time, we called the virus the death sentence. But as a doctor quoted to me, that the 90s changed which way the virus was going to go. As a medication was introduced, those with HIV was living longer than expected. Now we're in an era where people begin to rebound and deaths from HIV in our community begin to dramatically fall. HIV positive individuals begin to reach undetectable viral levels and could no longer transmit the virus sex when the status was maintained. So the question is, why are African Americans facing barriers to accessing these medications such as PrEP and as PEP? Well, me personally, I believe that either providers have heard of it but didn't feel confident in prescribing it, or they didn't really know that much about it. I also believe it's the lack of information being distributed out in our POC communities. We have several organizations that are fighting and helping to bring an epidemic down to zero, such as POCAAN, Entre Hermanas, AHF, and other organizations that are out there supporting us. However, lacking of funding can also cause so many barriers as well. As Muhammad Ali mentioned, he said, "You lose nothing when fighting for a cause." In my mind, the losers are those who don't have a cause to care about. So, how do we all fight in helping African Americans to access this information? How do we educate them? How can get access to the medication that is out there? And how can we get them tested? These are questions that I continue to advocate for in our community. And I believe this, that we cannot sit back and wait for something to happen. We have to take charge and make things happen for ourselves. So again, I want to thank the National Black HIV Awareness for having me on this evening. And Dr. Rene, I thank you as well. Thank you.
You didn't use all your 5 minutes. Could have given them to somebody else. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And there's a banner down at the bottom that tells us how to get close to you and get next to you. I look forward to continuing this relationship. Thank you so
You got it.
much.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Next is our keynote speaker. And our keynote speaker is Grazell R. Howard. And Grazell Howard is the co-founder and chief strategist for Health Solution Company and founder and CEO of a strategic consulting firm. With a wide range of experience in both the public and private sectors, Ms. Howard has worked for the Honorable Charles Rangel as a former prosecutor for the Queens District Attorney's Office and as a lawyer for a major insurance company where she developed strategy and managed litigation. Grazell has advised, coached, and partnered with some of America's top executives and organizations. She has worked with senior leadership in designing and mobilizing diverse groups of people around reproductive health issues and sudden infant death syndrome, which also disproportionately impacts Black women. As a health advocate, she has been the architect of community engagement initiatives that have changed the trajectory of major health concerns, including the Back to Sleep campaign that is still considered one of the most successful NIH and NICHD community partnerships. Grazell serves as a legal advisor and ethicist to the NIH Cancer Health Disparities Commission that was established by President George Bush. She serves as chair of the Black AIDS Institute, and which is the only domestic think and do tank focused on HIV and AIDS, with special emphasis on mobilizing information dissemination, science, and treatment training for non-clinical workforce. She has served as the national first president of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women with Johnson C. Smith University Board of Visitors. She served as an advisory board member to the Capital One Coaching Council, as an advisory board member to the NCCU School of Law. She's a graduate of North Carolina Central University School of Law and the recipient of numerous honors and awards, including the Thurgood Marshall Award of Excellence. Welcome, Grazell R. Howard.
On behalf of the Black AIDS Institute, I'd like to thank the consortium of organizations who wisely assembled today to celebrate National Black HIV Awareness Day. At the Black AIDS Institute, we are committed to informing, educating, and hopefully activating the Black community and understanding that HIV and HIV prevention, HIV awareness is our solution for our people. For the last 30 years, BAI has been engaged in a uniquely and unapologetically Black way of eradicating HIV. Today, we have the science, the biomedical technology, where majorities of populations have virally suppressed their communities. Yet, the Black community in America still has work to do. As the great Maya Angelou said, it is perplexing that we must tackle a disease that is centered and focused around love. So, the theme of my opportunity to chat with you is love, self-love, love of community, and love of self. Today, the stats are this: young Black men who engage with sex with men and Black women over the age of 45 are the largest groups acquiring HIV in America. Grazell, why do you keep pressing on America? Because we must speak truth to ourselves. Jewel Jackson McCabe, the founder of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, has an amazing saying: if you're not speaking about wealth, if you're not speaking about health and the politics of these yet United States, then you are not talking. And I am saying to you, if we are not speaking about HIV in the Black community every day, then we are not talking. If in fact HIV is a Black disease today, and 30 years ago, the message was it was a gay disease, that's when we stopped listening. HIV doesn't discriminate. And in this post and COVID epidemic era, HIV and COVID are grandmother and grandchild. COVID is HIV for the planet, and we're not confident how we contract it. HIV, we know how you can contract it. So, number one, know the facts, dispel the myths. HIV is transmitted through sex, intravenous drug use, and in some cases, just engaging in unprotected sex. So know your facts. Why? Today we have pre and post treatments. Pre-Grazell, yes, if you're HIV negative and engage in high-risk behavior, you have an opportunity to stay HIV negative by taking 1 pill a day. It's called PrEP. If in fact you have what we'd call oops, there is an opportunity that you're HIV negative and you can take a drug after you've engaged in unprotected sex or in high-risk behavior. That's all the science I'm going to speak to you about. Because today we know it is not about the biomedical advancements. It's not about the science. It's not about the pills or the injectables that allow people to live long and healthy lives. At the advent of HIV, it was a death sentence. Today, HIV is a disease in these yet United States that has neglected the nuances, perhaps, that we need in our community. That's a slick way of saying there are people today that will not contract HIV because they heard the right message and they have access to the right drugs and they live healthy, thriving lives. And that's what we need Americans to do. In Africa, they've reported amazing statistics. Babies not being born with HIV, women and men loving one another, same-sex and binary people and transgender people living healthy and thriving lives. If that's happening on the continent, what is the challenge here on the diaspora? We submit to you at the Black AIDS Institute, it's self-love. If we love ourselves, we would dismantle the stigma around homophobia, transphobia, and every other thing that we engage in the conspiracy of silence. Every one of us today knows someone who's living with HIV. Every one of us today knows someone who's died of HIV. So, what is the call to action? The call to action is this: integrate HIV testing in your normal healthcare practice. If your physician doesn't ask you to have an HIV test, you demand one. That's your primary care or your OBGYN. Also, know and speak true to yourself. If you're involved in high-risk behavior, anal intercourse, occasionally even using IV drugs, then learn about PrEP and learn how you can have safe sex. I am highly unpopular when I say this. Condoms aren't bad. Condoms can help you save your life. So when I was growing up, the saying was no glove, no love. Let's bring it back into play. Why? Because if you watch those commercials that come on TV, some of you, especially my sisters, black women, y'all get up and go to the refrigerator or go and then be distracted. The commercials are sharing with you drugs that can help virally suppress our community. However, they don't always stress the fact that HIV still is not our only danger. In the current public health model, we are neglected by not getting the messages we hear. So the messenger matters. The group that has assembled us, the coalition, they are the messengers. They are furiously trying to get our community to know we can love ourselves, and love one another safely. How do we get there? Dovey Roundtree is the Right Reverend, very much like Reverend McCoy. She's one of the first black women to serve in the armed forces. And Dove is also responsible for black people riding the airplanes and trains and buses, what we call interstate travel. Many people don't know about Dove, but one saying she had, and that was, Howard, find work to do that you don't want to do, not for yourselves, but those not born yet. So, if black people are to remain relevant, we must address HIV in our communities for us and by us. Dove said, stay current. So are you current in your understanding about HIV? Because if you are current in that, then you can help us be virally suppressed. The United States government has a target, 2030. There's a group of women up and down the East Coast specifically, because the Southeast is where HIV is ravaging our communities. And they have formed something called Talk About It, Be About It, 2030. Did any of you know that 2030 is, in fact, the benchmark for the United States to have eradicated or virally suppressed our community? We are not going to make that as black people. How will we make it? Only for us, by us. So I submit to you, black women, because we are the moral voice of our community, as well as we've been the wet nurses for the planet. It's Black History Month, let's keep it real. We must take up the mantle and be the grapevine to spread the word in our community that HIV is ravaging us, and we have an opportunity to course correct it quickly. So, learn your facts. You cannot contract HIV by going to the bathroom behind someone. You cannot contract HIV by drinking water behind someone. But you can contract HIV in unprotected sex. You can contract HIV by engaging in drug use that either lets your guard down or makes you not make good decisions or exchange needles. There are places in this country that black women are not even being diagnosed with HIV, but being diagnosed with full-blown AIDS. What's the difference, Grazell? The difference is your viral load. But as I promised you, I am not going to stress the science today as much as ask you again. Love us, love yourself. That's the constant call of action. Because through self-love, we can love healthy and live thriving lives. The United States of America has one disease that is required to be in the budget, for the budget to be balanced. What is that disease? HIV. Not breast cancer, not cancer, not Alzheimer's, but HIV. The people who acted up and advocated for that, they are virally suppressed. They were gay white men. Congratulations. The same drugs exist. The same policies exist. So why are we the largest community contracting the virus? It is not because of our race. It is not because of lack of access. Certainly we have the social determinants of health. Certainly we're neglected in the public health model. I submit to you it is because of our past, our present, and they had a Star Trek movie with no black people in it. So let's determine our future together. We have been rooted in not having open conversations about sex. We have been rooted in attending churches that the God we serve doesn't love all of us. So I submit to you, if you attend a church where the pulpit is not all inviting, ask yourself, is this the God you serve? At the Black AIDS Institute, we are revolutionizing how we will address HIV. It is uniquely and unapologetically black. However, we are going in on ourselves. Why? Our lives depend on it. Have conversations every day that are not engaged in homophobic discussions. Have conversation every day about knowing your status. Have conversations every day that tell little young boys and little girls that you can love safely. I want to challenge each and every one of you to know your status, to commit to screening for HIV yearly based on your practices. If in fact you're same gender loving man, then you know how and when you should be screened. I would say every 3 months, if you are engaging in same sex intercourse. If in fact you are engaged in high-risk intercourse, male or female, transgender, and that means high, let me break it down for you. If you're engaged in anal intercourse, no judgment, just do it safely. Grazell Howard's famous saying is, I want everyone to get it when you want, how you want it, as long as you want safely. Quote me on that. I challenge you. The biomedical advancements that originated in HIV are because of the research in this country. President Bush, 43, and Condoleezza Rice, under what we call PEPFAR, have taken those biomedical advancements to Africa. And they now tout, at 20 years in, success. Babies not being born with HIV. People would have you believe that the advocacy of the gay community in America is the reason the government got behind HIV. Absolutely. The ACT UP movement and the gay men in America demanded answers. However, when these yet United States found out that HIV could be transmitted mother to child, Congress woke up. Condoleezza Rice told the president, if you do not get behind this disease, your presidency and your legacy will be destroyed. Africa is doing well in suppressing Africans with HIV. Babies are not being born with HIV. Yet in America, our babies are being born again. Notice I said again. So in 2023, we have mother-to-child transmission. That is unacceptable. In 2023, we have Black women over the age of 45 contracting HIV. Big mamas are getting HIV at the Shady Acres Rest Home, y'all. Now, there's some good in that you know at 80 years old you still have desire and want to do it. However, we must educate them to do it safely. Do you know how many people say, I didn't know HIV was still a virus? Oh, Magic Johnson is cured. Oh, that's not true. It's a government conspiracy. Well, we must dispel all rumors. That's the call to action. Speak truth to yourself. Educate yourself. Know the facts. You've been informed. Now activate. Speak to someone every day and say, do you know your status? Status of what, girl? You know your FICA score. Know your HIV status. Commit to being screened. Commit to practicing safe sex so that we can live a vibrant, thriving life. uniquely and unapologetically Black. Because the Black AIDS Institute is starting a new revolution, and that revolution is to save our lives in these yet United States. I'm Grazell Howard, and on behalf of the people we serve, on behalf of the Black community in these yet United States, and the persons thriving with HIV today, commit to knowing your status and commit to staying current. As the Right Reverend Dovey Roundtree would say, and as I said, Jewel Jackson McCabe say, if you're not speaking about wealth, you're not speaking about health, and you're not speaking about the politics of these yet United States, then you are not living. Don't forget to vote. Our ancestors are requiring us to. Self-love, that is the key. We have the biomedical interventions. We have the tools, pre and post prophylactics. The stats are, we must talk about it and be about it so that we can virally suppress the Black community. Our people, our solution, the messenger matters. On National Black HIV Awareness Day, in the middle of Black History Month, let's be our own history. As Derek Bell, the famous author, said, it is a conspiracy if you think our race is the determination of our health. We are not the faces at the bottom of the well. We're the ones we've been waiting on. Look to your neighbor, to your left and your right, and say, self-love. I commit to revolutionizing the Black community so that we will not be the forefront of HIV.
My. That's what I'm talking about. Talk about it. Be about it. That's what I'm talking about. My goodness. Thank you so much, Grazell, for that wonderful and inspiring presentation. As we keep on, we're almost out of time here, but we do have a couple more things, and I'm excited about being here tonight and glad I'm here. Our next speaker is Paul Green, who is with the Unity Fellowship Senior Outreach, and he's going to talk to us about some of the things that we can do. And he's coming up. He's going to talk to us about testing and some of the other things that we can do. Welcome, Paul Green.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you, Dr. Rene? That was a powerful message that Sister Howard put out to us. And good evening to everybody as well. I've been asked to give a short brief on the coalition and what we're doing. And one of the big things is knowing your status. And if you had to think about it, then you probably need to get tested. And that's the message. You know, normalizing HIV testing, regardless of who you have sex with, it's okay to do that. The reason being is that we're in all different types of relationships in terms of our own sexual orientations. And it's helpful to know your status. You might be entering into a new relationship. You might have left one that you need to know about it. You might be active sexually on a lot of different levels, and it's helpful for you to know your status. In addition, aside from what everybody else has been saying about what we've been talking about this evening, we need to understand who we are. This includes self-love and the tools and resources that we have in Seattle that are available to you. One of the big things that's available is about how we prevent and detect early HIV. And one of the things we've been talking about is to continue to provide resources and tools. One of them being is an HIV test over the counter that you can use in the privacy of your own home, in your own comfort zone of learning more about who you are and whether or not you have HIV. So we encourage you to look at that option and know that HIV testing is over the counter. It has been, but that's another tool that we are going to encourage, and our call to action is to let people know that that tool is available. And it's so important because, people are more active in others sexually on a variety of different levels.
All right, Paul, there's more, even though there's in our banner down at the bottom, and they can contact us. Certainly contact me to get more information about testing. So even, we've been talking about HIV. Tell us about how we can remember those who we have lost through HIV. Tell us a little bit about what we've got going on there too, Paul.
Dr. Rene, we had talked about this in planning, and this has been over the last couple of months because it takes time to do these kinds of projects. And I'm glad to be and honored to be a part of it with some great people. But one thing I learned is that, I can't ever forget. And I was led to a project called our Call My Name project, which is a part of the National AIDS Memorial Quilt. And here's the panel that I built for some friends of mine, Fred and Ray, that's going to be incorporated into that. And we have other groups and people who are putting the panels together, and we're going to join these and celebrate our people that have passed on from HIV and AIDS. And we're also going to incorporate this into the larger quilt as we share it with the community, because it empowers us. It allows us to tell our stories of people that we've known and those that we love, and create a story for them, incorporate it into a awesome National AIDS Memorial, and their story will live into perpetuity. It's a good way to deal with your own grief and bereavement and loss of loved ones due to HIV. And it's a great project to do. You don't have to know how to sew. I pressed on all these items here and pressed them in myself. And it was just like I was reaching back to my old friends, Fred and Ray, those who I call my Bristers in the name of love. But it was a great project. We have the resources and tools to help you build one if you want to do that, come and take part in that. We have other groups and other churches that are going to help us with that too. And that's what we're doing, and it's been a wonderful project so far.
Yes, and if you're interested in being part of the Call My Name project, please reach out to Paul. There's a banner there, or you can contact me at AARTH, or just contact AARTH Info, or put your name in. I'm really encouraging you to put your name and email in our chat, so that we can reach out to you as well. And partnerships are important. One of the greatest partnerships that we've had has been with the Northwest African American Museum. And as we approach the end of our show here, we have a message from the Northwest African American Museum. It's about uniting to end HIV, and we're just pleased and proud to have the museum as part of our partnership going forward with the Call My Name project. We're hoping that as we move towards World AIDS Day, and as we move that we get more and more panels. So please think about doing a panel for person of color who we lost through HIV and AIDS. Now let's hear from the Northwest African American Museum.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Callie Slair.
And I'm Jason Turner, and we're members of the Northwest African American Museum's Education and Engagement team.
Thank you for joining us as we come together today in recognition of National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. Since 1999, the United States has nationally recognized this day, February 7th, to acknowledge and increase awareness of how human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, disproportionately affects Black communities.
Over 2 decades later, Black communities have made progress in reducing HIV, but the fight to end the HIV epidemic continues. Community engagement is a key part of this fight, and one of the many ways that museums can partner with the Black community to end HIV.
By sharing informational resources, promoting HIV testing, prevention, and treatment, museums can join in the local, regional, national, and global efforts to #StopHIV together.
Together, we can work to bring more awareness to this worthy cause, to fight structural barriers to HIV treatment, prevention, and care.
Together, through conversation, outreach, and partnership, we can stop HIV stigma and counter myths about HIV with knowledge, education, and understanding.
Together, we can end HIV.
For those who take a walk with me to live back in our history, all rise, all rise, to face the past that we most dread, to use our strength and lift our head, all run, all run, all rise up, please stand up. When will we rise up? Stand for those who fell for us, live for those who died for us. When will we rise up? For those of us who walk with me to live back in our history, all rise, all rise, to face the past that we most dread, to use our strength and lift our head, all run, to face the past that seems so near, to conquer all our hidden fears, all rise, all rise, all rise up, please stand up. When will we rise up? Stand for those who fell for us, live for those who died for us. When will we rise up? When will we rise up? Stand for those who fell for us, live for those who died for us. When will we rise up? When will we rise up? Stand for those who fell for us, live for those who died for us. When will we rise up? When will we rise up?
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. So often we hear people say, speak truth to power. I'm here to tell you tonight that you are the power. We came tonight to be reminded that we are already empowered with everything we need to end the devastation of HIV. I hope you were reminded that healing happens when we recognize and lift up the powers that lie beneath the surface of our fears, powers that are straining to be let loose, to rid our lives and our communities of demons of fear and hopelessness and despair. And I hope tonight you remember that more than anything, we came here tonight to remind ourselves that we deserve better and we can do better. We deserve to be healthy. We deserve to live with dignity, regardless of who we love. We deserve to celebrate our bodies. We deserve to embrace our sexualities. We deserve to move into life and love with radical pride, radical joy, and radical vision. We came tonight to remind you that HIV is still a thing. Thank you so much. Go forth now and talk about it and be about it. Thank you.